like put themselves out there to have like shit happen to them.
I know what you like. Cause I mean, I have, like I said, I can kind of connect with you on some stories, but then I'm like, I listen to some of the stories you tell and I'm like, dude, I live a boring ass life. Fucking, what have I done with my life? Alex has gone out and done all this shit, gotten himself in these, has all these mad stories to tell now, like throughout his life. I've got nothing. I've got like maybe 3 or 4 good life stories, and that's fucking it.
But the thing is like it's not even so much about like what I've done, because like most crazy shit is like based upon like what's happening around me, and like it's just like for a long time I like really put myself out there. Like I really like I had a ton of groups of friends that I hung out with, like big groups of, I mean, mostly just people I partied with. It wasn't like, all these are all my best friends. I had my good friends and I had these other groups that I associated with. And it was just like the more I put myself out there and met all these, different groups of people, it just presents more shit that's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like when I first moved down to San Diego, I moved down with a couple of friends, and like they just kind of kept to themselves. And, and then after a few years, they moved back home and I stayed down in San Diego, and they had no fucking stories to show for it. And I did the exact opposite. Like I injected myself into a bunch of different groups, like party with a bunch of different people. And like eventually just shit just happens, like good or bad, most of it bad.
Well, just on that, I mean, I've gotten how Scoob got into the Tasteless Tournament. I know how Bradley got into it. I mean, him and Shoney, and you're one of the originals as well. So I want to know, how did you meet Brad, Shoney, and then how did you guys like go, hey, let's just do a fucking podcast?
So I met Shoney through a friend of mine who was a DJ in San Francisco.
Let me clear something up. Are you guys are friends, yeah?
Yeah.
Because the way you talk to each other, you just like you're almost Australian with the way you treat each other. Because that's how Australians treat each other, like mates. Is like
that's how my family treats each other. Like at least on like my dad's side of the family, like on my mom. So like I'm just to get some perspective on like how I grew up and how I treat my friends and shit like that. Like my mom's family is very different than my dad's side of the family, and my dad's side of the family is like very vicious to each other. Like family reunions and shit like that. Like if somebody didn't end up crying, it wasn't a family reunion.
It sounds like an Australian.
Yeah. And so like at one point we were coming back from, I think we were in like Miami or something along those lines. And we were coming back from a family gathering, going back to the hotel. And my mom like just looked at my dad and she's like, why are you guys so mean to each other? That's just the fucking way it is. But yeah, so like my family grew up giving each other shit. But yeah, so Shoney is kind of like the same thing. Like, we go back and forth. Like back at like when Shoney and I were partying a lot together, like we were around each other all the fucking time. So like giving each other shit, that was just the way it is. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so back to like how we all met. So my friend was DJing at an event that him and Shoney were both I think Shoney was opening up for him, and my friend was down from San Francisco DJing. So we were all partying at the same club. And then for the rest of the weekend, we pretty much all partied. And that's actually how I met Bradley. Was I think like a few months later, they did the event together again. And we were down at a bar in PB, and Bradley, I think, was just getting off doing a shoot or something like that, and came to the bar we were at. And after that, we all just kind of partied together. Since Bradley's doing photo or doing shoots for the nightclubs and shit like that, like we would only really see him at the very end of the night after he got off.
Yeah.
So, we'd be out and all of a sudden Bradley would show up, and then, we'd end up back at Shoney's house till like 4 or 5 in the morning partying. And then one night, I should say one morning, Bradley and I were leaving Shoney's at like 5 or 6 in the morning or something like that. And we just, instead of taking a cab, we decided to walk back. So we ended up walking like 30, 40 minutes, just bullshitting. We're like, oh, we should fucking start a podcast. And then it just kind of went from there.
That's and that was back in the time when like podcasts were like still a new venture, like a new thing.
Oh yeah, it was like a blog.
Yeah.
You know, like remember back in the day when like the blog first started, if somebody was like, "Hey, can you read my blog?" You'd be like, "Fuck no."
Yeah. What am I going to spend fucking reading your life for? I don't give a fuck.
Nobody gives a shit. And that's like the funniest part too, is like I never once like told any of my friends to listen to the podcast. Like I just never wanted to be that guy who was like, "Hey, you know, can you please listen to my podcast?" Because to me, it was like a blog. Like I couldn't imagine like asking people directly to read my blog. Like I would just be that guy, and I can just imagine. Like even if you send somebody like a 2-minute YouTube video, you know what I mean? They're like hesitant to watch it. Yeah, they'll watch like 30 seconds and then respond. Like nobody wants to fucking watch your shit ever, and so I never wanted to be that guy. But yeah, so like initially, like I have to imagine we were pretty much just like shouting into the fucking wind.
Back then, did you ever think it was going to get this big?
I mean, I thought if people listened to it, they would resonate. It would resonate with them. Like I didn't think, you know, there was nothing there. Like I thought it was good enough content, and we were entertaining enough that people would watch or listen. But yeah, I mean, then it's always the question of like, how do you get enough listeners? Like, how do you actually get enough people to pay attention? And yeah, I mean, it's weird looking back. Like I can't recall even trying to measure how many people were listening early on, because I just feel like it was literally nobody. Like,
I mean, the point when you realize that, oh shit, we got people from all over the world listening to us. And you got people from Australia, you got people from Iceland, you got people from Germany, from South Africa. Like they're all listening to pretty much just the four of you guys just have a normal chat that most blokes have at a bar, and they're listening to it every week, and they're wanting a new episode every week and wanting to buy merchandise and wanting to meet you and treating you like a you know, some kind of celebrity. Has it hit you yet? Has it hit you and gone, oh shit, this is much bigger than I thought it was ever going to be, and you know, holy fuck.
It's a little weird, like at times. I mean, honestly, I never really think about it that much, mainly because, you know, even if we have however many listeners around the world, it's still like a drop in the bucket in like the grand scheme of things. Like the odds of somebody recognizing me are still pretty slim, even, you know, it happens like from time to time. But like the weird shit is, you know, like I was at my brother's wedding, and one of the people who were there for the wedding worked with my sister-in-law, and her boyfriend is a fan and was like super nervous to meet me. And it's just fucking weird. Like mainly, like I can understand if like, you know, fucking Brad Pitt was showing up to a wedding and you were like nervous to interact with him. But like I'm still a nobody. Like,
I still put my undies on the same way.
Yeah, like I'm still like in, you know, even like in the world of internet fame, like we're still so small compared to fucking, you know, all these other people. So like it's kind of weird to even like think that somebody would be nervous to interact with me, you know, in a way that I would like be nervous to interact with somebody who's like a superstar. You know, that's like kind of weird to me.
Well, who would you be? Who would your starstruck person be? Like, what celebrity would you be like, I don't know how to interact with them?
I mean, let me put it this way. If I, you know, saw somebody on the street and like I probably wouldn't, you know, try to interact with them or take a picture or anything like that. I think most of them I would be very like awkward and uncomfortable with if it was in a setting where like they didn't expect to interact with anybody. But I think if you like threw me into, you know, a dinner party or a fucking wedding or something like that where they were just there to actually interact, I don't think I would feel nervous along those lines.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, yeah. I think that like if it was years ago, I definitely would have. But like, you know, from working in hotels for years, I got to be around quite a few like very, very famous people and interacted with them on like more of a personal level. So I think like initially when that first started happening, working at hotels, I was kind of like nervous, and then it just became normal. Like you just interact with them normally.
Yeah, it's just Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, and you're like, yeah, it's fucking Johnny. Don't worry about it. You
I was actually supposed to when I was hotel I was working at, Will Ferrell was hosting a fundraiser like right down the street, so he was staying at the hotel I was working at, and I checked Jack Black into the hotel and Nick Kroll because they were both performing at the event.
Oh, fucking Nick Kroll cracks me up, man.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome, and I was like I was actually nervous if Will Ferrell was going to come in. Like I don't think I would have been able to like.
So you had Jack Black, you had Nick Kroll, and then you were nervous about Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, yeah.
Fair enough, man. I reckon he'd be a bit intimidating to meet.
I just don't think I could keep a straight face because he just makes me fucking like laugh just looking at him.
I reckon he's that kind of person who would pick that up very quickly and then try.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was just like it was on SNL.
He'd pick it up very quickly that you were trying not to laugh or do something, and he'd just like, I reckon he'd just like zone in and just go, yeah, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fucking make him laugh.
It would just be super uncomfortable, and he would let it fucking sit there and make you feel uncomfortable forever.
I fucking hate that feeling when somebody like makes you feel like they make you feel uncomfortable and they know you're uncomfortable and they just like keep doing what they're doing to keep making you uncomfortable, and you're like,
yeah, and you just have to sit there and you have no idea how to and then you think about it for like 5 years.
Yeah, my father-in-law does it to me a lot. Makes me super uncomfortable because he'll say something and and then I'll go to talk to him and he'll just like look at me and go, I'm like, okay, all right, what do I say now?
I don't know, are we gonna get into some whole like father-in-law issues now?
No, I've no, he's a good man, brilliant man. He told me he was going to break my kneecaps if I ever did anything bad to my wife, and I believe him. I believe him.
So now you just have to hide every bad thing you do.
I just don't do anything bad. I let her hit me. I'm the victim. I'm the Johnny Depp in the relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Is that too soon?
I mean, who would have? I don't know. Probably not. What was that? What was her name again?
Amber Heard. I mean, she's hot, but on the hot to crazy scale, it's the crazy's too high to, it outweighs the hotness.
Do you think Johnny Depp gets beat in character?
I fucking hope so.
Like, put on one of his Tim Burton fucking costumes that he wore.
Oh no, he's gonna
fucking movies.
as the pirate Jack Sparrow. Shafi, stop hitting me!
Yeah, right.
Stop hitting me!
I honestly I couldn't even tell you like what normal Johnny Depp looks like at this point.
Yeah, he's like a mix of all his characters in one. It's like he's the best method actor ever, and he just never leaves like each character 100%. He always like carries 10% of it.
Yeah,
off.
He just always gets like slightly more crazy.
Yeah,
it's like was it Heath Ledger? Didn't he?
I was about to say that. That's pretty much what killed him.
Yeah, like
he locked himself in a hotel room for like 6 weeks or 9 weeks or something to go slightly crazy to become the Joker, and then got really depressed and ended up offing himself.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that method acting probably isn't like what mental health professionals would say is a good idea.
Well, Jared Leto tried to do the same thing with Joker, and like he just didn't do a very good job because just everyone thought he was a fucking cunt.
Oh, that was the worst fucking.
You're not good. You're just
ever.
A cunt.
I was actually in New York like shortly after Heath Ledger died, and we were walking. I think we were in like Greenwich Village, and we were with one of my mom's friends who lived there, and like it was a fucking like tourist attraction. She was like, "Oh, like do you guys want